Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared sharp betting information.
Welcome back to podcast 72, my friends. Kiev O'Neill here from the Odds Breakers, and I am in sunny San Diego. Well, it's actually not that sunny yet. Kind of hoping for some sun myself, but it's not quite here yet. And we just got here Saturday night. It is Monday, midday, and we have a great show for you today because we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to talk pretty fast. There's going to be no segment for fantasy with Dave. I'm going to do fantasy myself, but we are still being able to podcast for you today to try to give you as much valuable information as we can. You know, I would like to do this from the outside for you watching video, but here we are. There's the boardwalk right there. Very close to the beach, the house we rented. So that's kind of cool. Very close to the ocean. So only stepping distance to the ocean. But either way, we have everything ready for you as I normally do because I care very much about getting information out and continuing to win. We had a great weekend last weekend, one in college, one in pros. Not a lot, but, you know, we're up in both, you know, and you can't complain about that. It's been a very difficult situation, a couple bad beats that we had to get through as well, but that's life, you know. But, you know, not a ton of upsets in college because we'll start right away. Just talk about college. Obviously, Memphis lost to Navy straight up, and that was a big spot. I bet that personally. I wish I gave that out to subscribers, so I do not count that in my numbers. Nebraska losing to Illinois was the big thing that happened on Friday night, obviously. And BYU was probably the next biggest upset the last game of the night. Well, Hawaii really was, I guess, but BYU was the last game that was big, BYU Kansas State, and that was awesome. You know, that was fun. And I got to tell you, man, BYU just in 6 minutes put a pounding on them. It was weird. They're down, and you know, I was thinking maybe I'm not going to cover the 7.5, and they put like 4 or 5 unanswered touchdowns in that, which was absolutely insane. The NFL was a lot more insane than college because there wasn't a ton of upsets in college, but the NFL, you had all kinds of upsets. Tampa Bay losing outright to Denver at home. You know, the Giants losing at home or winning on the road against the Browns at home was huge. You know, so that was a massive upset as well. Ravens Cowboys, not an upset, but if you're a Ravens bettor, you're biting your fingers the whole time. It's like, are you seriously going to choke again? And then obviously the Chiefs are the Chiefs and very beloved by the NFL and the officiating. And so they were able to win their game, which should be part of everyone's handicap now when it comes to the Chiefs. So Panthers also upset the Raiders. That was massive. I can't imagine Survivors did real well. What's frustrating to me is if I didn't have the Ravens in week 2, I would have had the Seahawks here this week, and I would still be alive in all those Survivors. But if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, you know how the saying goes. Massive upsets in the NFL, some big injuries, but here we are. We're going to go over our show just like we always do. So let's start right away with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And for the good, Aaron Rodgers, he was good on Thursday Night Football, was able to win and kind of show that was an easy spread. I had that as a contest play. I dove in because I thought that -6 was way low for the Jets in that spot against the Patriots. There was a massive trend that was favoring the Jets on that as well. Friday Night Dogs on NCAA football. I mean, San Jose State almost got the upset, but all 3 of the other dogs won outright. Illinois was one of them. Man, it was just an insane Friday night of dogs. Stanford also beating Virginia Tech, I believe, was one of them too. Michigan's comeback versus USC was good. That was fun. You know, Orgy played pretty well. Penn State covering a monster spread at Kent State. So for Penn State bettors, that's good. Vanderbilt almost beating Missouri in overtime. They went to overtime with Missouri. Excuse me. And then the NFL. The Vikings, holy cow! I guess they are good. That was one team I wasn't believing in. I should have not believed in the Saints. Thank God I stay away from the Saints, Cowboys. For the most part, Although Saints, Eagles, I leaned Eagles anyway. Sam Darnold and Andy Dalton, they're really good, obviously. And Matt LaFleur, he's been pretty good himself. He just showed that he's one of the best coaches in football, and that just wonders, like, is Jordan Love really that good, or is just Matt LaFleur just that good of a coach? I think it's more Matt LaFleur. I do give Jordan Love some props. So Survivor contests that are left, I got to give you guys props that are left in those games after just a massive Armageddon of weeks in the NFL. Bad Patriots offense. Holy cow, they couldn't move the ball at all against the Jets. That was bad. Nebraska's choke against Bielema. That was ugly for Nebraska. Or bad, I guess. It didn't quite make the ugly, but it was close. Jackson Arnold in Oklahoma's offense was brutal. That should have made my ugly, but it's in the bad. That Oklahoma game was pathetic. Tennessee beat the crap out of them. One of my losing bets. Baylor's choke versus Colorado with the Hail Mary in overtime. Holy cow, that was a crazy game. Northern Illinois losing to Buffalo. Did they just beat Notre Dame and were ranked? Seriously, ranking Northern Illinois was bad for the polls. Idiots. Utah in their Cam Rising drama was pathetic. These guys, I can never believe what the hell's going on with them. You just cannot trust Kyle Whittingham. Adam Thielen injury was bad because we had over 43 yards on his prop. That was my bad beat last week. And then he gets injured on that touchdown, gets to 40, doesn't get to 44 to win the bet, misses the whole second half. That was brutal. Cowboys run offense is terrible. They can't run the ball. Kyle Shanahan choking again. God, that's bad. How do you let the Rams beat you with all their injuries? Not like the 49ers weren't injured, but still. CJ Stroud hasn't been good in fantasy. So CJ Stroud's been a horrible fantasy contributor, and Tampa Bay losing at home to Denver was pathetic. And now for the ugly, App State's bad loss to South Alabama's ugly. Ohio State getting a phantom flag against Marshall after that punt turnover was very ugly. Come on, refs. There's no flag there. We hit the over anyway in that game. That was one of our plays. North Carolina teams. Jesus, man. North Carolina getting smoked by JMU, James Madison, and NC State by Clemson. Thank God we bet Clemson. That spread, I took minus 20 and went all the way down to minus 17 or minus 16 and a half. I was like, seriously? Well, that thing was a no sweater. Wyoming. Maybe the worst Cowboy team that I've ever seen is Wyoming this year. Kansas State's 6 minutes of hell, allowing BYU to score 31 points, was ugly. The Chiefs' pass interference, that was clear pass interference, not called. That costed 7 points for the Falcons and probably the game. Just same shit, different day. Raiders losing to the Panthers is just how things work, and the Titans losing their old draft pick Malik Willis. Losing to Malik Willis after you get rid of him is just absolutely absurd. The ugliest thing that I think of the weekend, really accredited to that. So there you have it. That's the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll go into college football week 4, misleading final scores. Washington State outgained San Jose State 627 to 491, yet only won 54 to 52 in overtime. They won the turnover battle 3-2. But bad early red zone efficiency and field position hurt the Cougs. So they should have won by a lot more, is what I'm trying to say. Louisiana outgained Tulane 421 to 355, yet lost 41 to 33. A 2-0 turnover ratio and bad third down efficiency hurt the Cajuns. Utah State outgained Temple 479 to 451, yet lost 45 to 29. A 1-0 turnover ratio and poor red zone efficiency hurt the Aggies. Memphis outgained Navy 659 to 566. Yet lost 56 to 44. A 1-0 turnover ratio and terrible rushing defense killed the Tigers. Arizona State outgained Texas Tech 376 to 334, yet lost 30 to 22. A 1-0 turnover ratio, 8 penalties and bad special teams killed the Sun Devils and my bet. Auburn outgained Arkansas 431 to 334, yet lost 24 to 14. A gross 5-2 turnover ratio killed the Tigers and a lot of people's overs. Northern Illinois outgained Buffalo 359 to 184, yet lost 23 to 20, a 2-1 turnover ratio. Terrible red zone efficiency and bad special teams killed the Huskies. Also still in that letdown spot from Notre Dame. Georgia Tech outgained Louisville 410 to 326, yet lost 31-19. A 1-0 turnover ratio did them in, along with bad red zone efficiency. USC outgained Michigan 397-322, yet lost 27-24. Equal turnovers at 2 apiece, but just bad coaching and soft defense at the end did them in. TCU outgained SMU 480-375, yet lost 66-42. A horrible 5-1 turnover ratio and bad special teams killed the Horned Frogs. Cal outgained Florida State 410-284, yet lost 14-9. Equal turnovers at 1, but bad red zone efficiency killed the Bears. Michigan State outgained Boston College 368-292, yet lost 23-19. A 4-1 turnover ratio did them in. New Mexico's yards are mainly garbage versus Fresno. Kansas State outgained BYU 367-241, yet lost 38-9. A 3-0 turnover ratio. And horrible special teams did in the Wildcats. 6 minutes of just score to score to score was absolutely insane. And very happy for me watching that game, because that was either going to be a big positive day or a big negative day. Or no, a small negative day or a good positive day, being that was my biggest bet. College football betting spots. Letdown spots, BYU at Baylor after beating Kansas State outright's the biggest one, just like I talked about. Utah could be a little flat, hosting Arizona after beating Oklahoma State. Michigan hosting Minnesota after beating USC is one. Buffalo at UConn after beating a ranked Northern Illinois is one for sure. So now it switches to Buffalo. Illinois at Penn State after winning at Nebraska is one for sure. James Madison at Ball State after beating UNC is big, and Navy at UAB after beating Memphis outright is one for sure. Get up spots. Nebraska better wake up versus Purdue next week. South Florida at Tulane after a rough non-conference is big. Houston better show up in some life hosting Iowa State, man. Houston's just looked terrible. Look ahead spots. The only one I really thought significant is Clemson looking past Stanford to Florida State. You know, I mean, Clemson just had a massive win. Stanford's frisky. You got to be careful there. It's going to be a big spread. Long rest spots. South Alabama, extra 2 days rest at LSU. App State, an extra 2 days rest hosting Liberty. Stanford, an extra day's rest at Clemson. Nebraska with an extra day's rest at Purdue. Illinois with an extra day's rest at Penn State. Washington State with an extra day's rest at Boise State. Air Force coming off the bye at Wyoming. Bama and Georgia both rested, so they're kind of cancel each other out. Amazing game coming up this week. I'll be home by then, I think. Arizona coming off the bye at Utah. Georgia State hosting Georgia Southern after a bye. Old Dominion coming off a bye at Bowling Green. Oregon coming off a bye at UCLA. San Diego State coming off the bye at Central Michigan. Texas State coming off the bye. And an extra 2 days at Sam Houston State. UAB after the bye hosting Navy. So Navy's in a letdown spot and facing a team off the bye. UCF hosting Colorado after a bye is big. And UNLV hosting Fresno State is nice. Wake Forest hosting Louisiana after bye is good. And Western Michigan at Marshall after a bye is one for sure. NFL week 3, misleading final scores. The Bears outgained the Colts 395-306, yet lost 21-16, a 3-2 turnover ratio. And 4 sacks killed the Bears. Just kind of Caleb Williams, like, if you just don't turn over the ball, man, you're going to win. The 49ers outgained the Rams 425-296, yet lost 27-24, a 1-0 turnover ratio, and coaching blunders killed the Niners. Kyle Shanahan just in choke mode as usual. Much of the Texans' yards were just garbage time, so I'm not even counting that for the Vikings game. Man, did the Texans just get smashed by the Vikings. Jeez, that looked bad. Just a bad spot for the Texans, a good spot for the Vikings. I wish I sniffed that out, because I gave that out as a play, and I was wrong on that one. The Eagles outgained the Saints 460-219, yet won 15-12. That was a weird game, man. 2-1 turnover ratio made the game closer as well. Poor Eagles red zone is what it was. But the truth is, with the yardage wise, the Eagles probably should have won by more, but they also almost should have lost that game. There was an interception there at the end. NFL week 5 betting spots. I should say week 4, because college is coming up to week 5. Letdown spots. Rams at the Bears after beating division rival 49ers. Panthers hosting the Bengals after beating the Raiders. Steelers at the Colts after beating the Chargers. Broncos at the Jets after beating the Buccaneers. Get up spots. Bears better get up hosting the Rams. Cowboys are embarrassed, and they better get up against the Giants this Thursday night football. And Chargers need to rebound hosting the Chiefs. Look ahead spots. There's none. No look ahead spots. Short rest. Jaguars at the Texans from Monday night. Bills hosting the Ravens from Monday night. Commanders at the Cardinals after Monday night. and Bengals at the Panthers after Monday night long rest. Jets hosting the Broncos after Thursday night football, and Patriots at the 49ers after Thursday night football. All right, let's go to a free play for you guys. And I'm going to keep fading a team that's 0-4 against the spread. Is that okay? Yeah, I thought so. Northern Illinois came out with that ugly loss, obviously, to Buffalo, but now they're going to play NC State and they get another chance at a Power 4 team, I guess you'd call them. But NC State's freaking terrible. I think Grayson McCall still might be on the shelf. I don't even think it matters. Northern Illinois, positive 2.17 net yards per play. NC State is in the negatives by a lot. North Carolina State is just an awful, awful team right now. Northern Illinois, their strength of schedule isn't terrible. I know they got to play Notre Dame, right? And NC State. They played some tough games, but still, they can't even get in the game. Why is NC State favored by 7? Why? I don't understand it. I think NC State is in massive trouble. I think Dave Duran is in trouble. Their defense ranking 96 in defensive success rate. Explosive plays, they rank 106 on defense. Field position, they can't even get a good starting field position, ranking 124th, while Northern Illinois ranks 28th in defensive success rate, 33rd in offensive success rate. They're a gritty team, and they're going to keep it close. Let's go with NIU plus the 7 for 2 stars. All right, that brings us to our fantasy football segment here. And for fantasy football, there is no bye weeks yet. I think we're going to have some next week finally. But key injuries, running back Ramondre Stevenson was hurt versus the Jets, so watch his status. Quarterback Skylar Thompson, the second string, was hurt versus Seattle. For Miami Dolphins, tight end Trey McBride evaluated for a concussion for the Cardinals. Wide receiver Adam Thielen had a hamstring injury. Tight end Sam Laporta had a hammy as well. Quarterback Justin Herbert had that ankle flare up on him, so he's going to be probably questionable the whole week as well. Wide receiver Devonta Smith had a concussion versus the Saints, and tight end George Kittle was hurt before the game and was kind of like a late scratch. Waiver wire. Quarterback Tim Boyle, if you're really, really desperate in 2 quarterback leagues. Wide receiver Juwan Jennings, it just showed us why paying Brandon Ayuk was absolutely dumb. Dude, this dude had like 44 fantasy points. Quarterback Bo Nix was hot and getting more comfortable on the offense. Wide receiver Jacoby Myers was good versus the Panthers. Quarterback Andy Dalton was the Red Rocket versus the Raiders. He was amazing. Holy cow. Wide receiver Adam Thielen just became the best guy to own for the Panthers. Hopefully he's going to be okay for this week. I mean, he seemed to walk off the field, so we'll see. Still a good stash guy. Tight end Tim Ryman for the McBride injury for the Cardinals might be big. Wide receiver Paris Campbell for this Devonta Smith concussion is a streamer. Wide receiver Jahan Dotson for the Eagles as well due to that. Tight end Dallas Goedert was absolutely amazing without A.J. Brown there. So I think they're going to go to Dallas Goedert more often on the Eagles. And tight end DeAndre Hopkins. Tight end. Wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins has a good matchup versus the Dolphins this week. Non-starters trending up for week 4. I'm not sure if Hopkins' matchup is good. He's just playing against a really bad defense. Maybe his matchup's actually kind of bad. If what's-his-face is going to be on him, and I'm looking up right now, see who I think is going to be guarding him. It's probably going to be Ramsey. I was hoping it wouldn't be Ramsey. It's probably going to be Ramsey under DeAndre Hopkins. So maybe that I'm gonna change that on the fly right now. We are not going to like DeAndre Hopkins here for that, but he's still a good waiver wire pickup. Non-stars trending up for week 4. Devin Singletary. I think that he's going to play a poor Cowboys defense at least, so he should be big this Thursday. Running back Bucky Irving against the Eagles. They have a bad run defense so far. Wide receiver T. Higgins versus the Panthers is a nice streamer. Running back DeAndre Swift for the Bears is big. Running back Rico Dowdle versus the Giants is big. Wide receiver Tank Dell versus the Jaguars, poor pass defense. Wide receiver Jaden Reed versus the Vikings pass D. Wide receiver Brandon Ayuk versus the Patriots pass defense is big. Tight end Cole Kmet versus the Rams looks like a play. And that brings us to bust Running back Ramondre Stevenson. Now he's only hurt. He's also facing the 49ers, which is really bad for him. Let's see here. Running back Zach Charbonnet versus the Lions is in danger. Running back James Cook versus Baltimore is dangerous. Quarterback Anthony Richardson versus the Steelers is scary. Wide receiver Michael Pittman versus the Steelers is also bad. I don't like anybody on the Colts versus Steelers. Running back Austin Eckler versus Arizona isn't good. Running back J.K. Dobbins versus the Chiefs is terrible. Running back David Montgomery versus the Seahawks is highly questionable. All right, that brings us to our nasty sleeper, and I'm going with tight end Cole Kmet versus the Rams. Finally, Caleb Williams realized he was playing on the field, and he got a ton of catches, and he was the only reason the Bears were in the game. He was awesome last week, and I think that he is going to be open. So I really like tight end Cole Kmet. Well, my friends, thank you so much for listening to this short podcast. We're going to have another one for you Thursday morning as well. Probably going to be somewhat short, but I'm going to kind of get to the point and give you our plays as well as some of our takes on some of the matchups, as well as, some analysis like we always do, So I think that's big to do that and very important to continue to do that. So thank you for listening. If you have any questions, tweet us at the Oddsbreakers. Email us at info@theoddsbreakers.com. Have a great rest of your week and go get some winners.